You know, it's really kind of wild how AI is just becoming a bigger and bigger part of work life.
Yeah, it really is.
And for me, the really interesting thing is how it's becoming less like a tool,
Right.
just something we use, and more like it's becoming a part of the team.
Absolutely.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure you've probably thought about this too.
hmm
How is this going to change the way teams work? How's it going to change workflows and everything?
Yeah, for sure. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today.
Okay, cool.
We're really focused on what our sources call meta AI teams.
Meta AI team.
Now, it's not just teams that use AI, right?
Right, yeah.
That's not what this is about.
Right.
It's deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like AI is really woven into the team.
Okay, yeah.
So AI agents are working directly with humans, like real collaborators,
Wow.
to get to the same goals.
That is a very different way of thinking about teamwork.
It really is a fundamental shift.
Yeah.
So what we want to do today is really give you the best practices for these meta AI teams.
Oh, okay.
So you really understand how to use AI to do amazing things.
Right, to get those big goals, to really innovate.
Exactly. Drive innovation and hit those strategic objectives.
Okay, yeah.
So we've got some really great sources for this deep dive.
Yeah.
They give us a really good overview of how these teams are starting to form.
Okay.
So we're going to break it all down for you.
Awesome.
The key insights, a shortcut to understanding how to make AI a great teammate.
Yeah.
So you can get up to speed really quickly
Perfect.
without getting bogged down in all the details.
Okay, so the first thing the sources talk about is setting up a strong foundation.
Yeah.
By clearly defining roles and responsibilities in the team.
Right, and that's super important.
Yeah.
This is where it all starts.
Yeah.
The sources really emphasize this idea that we need to change how we see AI.
Oh, okay. How?
So it's not just another software program on your computer.
Right.
We need to start thinking about it as a real teammate,
Interesting.
a collaborator who's contributing to the team.
Okay. I like that. So it's not just saying, hey, AI figured this out. It's about giving AI responsibility for certain things.
Right.
And the sources have a really good example to illustrate this.
They do.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, they talk about this AI named Dennis.
Dennis.
And what's cool about Dennis is it has a specific job.
Okay.
It takes something called a tool descriptor
Tool descriptor.
and uses that to come up with high-level tasks.
Interesting. What is a tool descriptor?
It's basically a way of laying out what the AI can and can't do.
Okay, so it's like its strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. It's like, here's what this AI is good at.
Right.
Here's what it's not good at.
Got it.
So Dennis's job is to take that descriptor and use it to create tasks.
Okay.
Tasks that will help the whole team reach its goals.
So you're not just giving it a general instruction.
Right.
Dennis has like a defined area of responsibility.
Exactly. It owns this part of the process.
I see. And the sources also talk about how important it is to figure out how the human and AI team members will work together.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really important for a smooth workflow.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Well, you have to think about when it's best for a human to lead,
Okay.
when it's best for the AI to step in,
Right.
and how they're going to hand off tasks and information to each other.
So it's like figuring out the dance between the human and the AI.
Yeah, it
That-
is. And then strategically thinking about where AI can be most valuable.
Okay.
Like, are there skills that your team is missing?
Right.
Or are there places where AI can make what humans are already doing even better?
Yeah. Make the human superpowered.
Exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like this isn't just an overnight change.
No, definitely not.
The sources talk about a phased approach and the need for training.
Yeah, it's got to be gradual.
Why is that so important?
Because teams need time to adjust.
Right.
You can't just throw AI in there and expect everyone to know what to do.
Yeah.
Training is really important.
Okay, for both the humans and the AI.
Yes, for both. For the human team, it's about learning to work with AI.
Right.
And for the AI, where it makes sense, it's about training it on its roles and responsibilities.
So it knows how to be a good teammate.
Exactly. How it fits into the team.
I see. And when it comes to actually doing the work, the sources talk about the different strengths
Yes.
of humans and AI
Yeah.
and how they can complement each other.
Yes. They each have their own superpowers.
Right. So it's about using each one for what it's best at.
Exactly. Task allocation is key here.
Okay.
Humans are great at things like creativity
Right.
and using their judgment to figure out tricky situations.
Like those gray areas. Whereas AI is really good at handling massive amounts of data
Yes.
and finding patterns.
And doing the same task over and over again perfectly.
Yeah, without getting bored.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's about recognizing those strengths and assigning tasks accordingly.
Right. That's how you make the team really productive.
Yeah, get the best out of everyone or everything.
Yeah.
Now, communication is already super important in teams,
It is.
but I imagine it gets even more complex when you bring AI into the mix.
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
It's not just human-to-human communication anymore.
It's a whole new level.
So how do you make sure everyone's on the same page?
Communication and coordination between humans and AI are crucial.
Okay.
You might need specific rules for how humans talk to the AI,
Yeah.
how the AI gives updates on what it's doing,
Oh,
and how any problems get flagged.
so everyone knows what's going on.
Exactly. It's all about being super clear.
Right.
So there's no confusion and everyone feels accountable.
Got it. So everyone knows their part
Yes, whether
Right.
they're human or AI.
and how their part fits into the big picture.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about roles and responsibilities. That's the foundation. Now, what about strategic planning?
Right. How does that work?
Does AI change the way teams approach that?
It totally changes it.
Really?
According to the sources, strategic planning in Meta AI teams is different.
Okay.
It's not just about using AI tools to do your regular planning.
Got it.
It's about using AI at every stage of the strategic process.
Like from start to finish.
Yeah. From analyzing what's happening now,
Okay.
to thinking about what might happen in the future,
Right.
to actually putting the strategy into action
And even checking to see if it's working.
and evaluating the results.
Exactly.
So AI isn't just doing what the strategy says.
Right.
It's actually helping to create the strategy itself.
That's right.
How does that work?
Well, think about how much data AI can handle.
Right. It's like a data monster.
It's way more than any human team could ever do.
Yeah.
So it can find those hidden patterns,
Okay.
emerging trends and opportunities that we might miss.
Wow. So it's like AI is giving us a superpower for understanding what's going on.
It really is.
And what about the future? Can it help us with that too?
Yes. The sources talk about how AI can create and analyze different future scenarios.
Oh, wow.
So teams can test their plans and be ready for anything.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we can use AI to get a really data-driven view of where things are headed.
That sounds so valuable. It's like having a crystal ball, but it's based on data.
Right.
Okay. But the sources also make it clear that it's not all about AI.
Definitely not.
Humans still have a really important role,
Yes. Human judgment is absolutely essential.
especially when it comes to setting the overall vision.
Right. AI can provide the data and insights,
Yeah.
but it's the humans who need to decide what the team is really about.
What our purpose is.
Exactly. And where we want to go.
So it's more of a partnership.
Yeah.
AI is giving us the information,
Yes.
but humans are the ones steering the ship.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so what are the practical steps for Meta AI teams when they're creating their strategic plans?
Well, the sources break it down like this.
Okay.
First, you have to define those strategic objectives.
Right, what are we trying to achieve?
Exactly. That's always step one.
Okay.
Then you have to look at your data infrastructure.
What does that mean?
Basically, can your systems handle the AI tools you're going to use?
Oh, okay, so you need the right setup.
Yeah, you need a strong foundation.
Got it.
Then you need to choose the right AI tools,
Right.
the ones that will actually help you reach your goals.
So it's not just a one-size-fits-all thing.
Nope, you have to be strategic about it.
Okay.
And, of course, training is essential.
Of course.
Not just on how to use the tools, but also how to understand the information they give you.
Right, it's not just about the numbers, it's about what they mean.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the sources really stress that the AI experts and the business leaders need to work together.
Really closely.
Yes, throughout the whole process.
Because the AI experts know how the tech works, and the business leaders know what the goals are.
Exactly.
Okay. And of course, the world is constantly changing.
It is.
So strategic plans can't just stay the same.
Right. They need to adapt.
How does that work in a Meta AI team?
It's all about building in a way to monitor and adjust your plan.
Okay.
So you need to set up key performance indicators.
KPIs.
Yeah. You need to get regular feedback on how things are going.
All right, are we on track?
Exactly. And if things change,
Yeah.
you need to be able to change your strategy too.
So it's like a constant cycle of checking and adjusting.
Yeah. It's iterative.
And again, it's about finding that balance.
Yes.
AI is giving us powerful insights,
Right.
but humans are still in control,
Exactly.
especially where it comes to ethics.
Yes. As things change, we need to make sure we're still doing the right thing.
Right, ethically.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about roles, strategic planning. Now let's talk about tools.
The tools of the trade.
It sounds like having the right AI tools is a big deal for these teams.
It's huge.
Really?
The sources really emphasize the power of tools.
Okay.
They say it's essential for managing these Meta AI teams.
So it's not just about having any AI.
Right.
It's about having the right AI tools.
Exactly. especially for project management.
Okay.
These AI-powered project management tools can really make things run smoothly.
And give you a lot of insights.
Yes, they're like having a data-driven project manager built in.
So what can these AI tools actually do?
Well, for starters, they can automate a lot of those tedious project management tasks.
Okay, like what?
Scheduling meetings across everyone's calendars.
Yeah, that's always a pain.
It is.
Okay.
Allocating resources based on who's available and what they're good at.
So it takes into account the AI team members too.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it can even assign tasks automatically.
Wow, so it's like it's taking care of all the busy work.
Right.
So the humans can focus on the big picture stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The strategic and creative work.
Okay, that sounds like a huge time saver.
It is.
But these tools do more than just automate things, right?
They do. They can also analyze all that project data.
Right, all that information that's constantly being generated.
Exactly.
So what do they do with it?
They can spot potential problems,
Okay.
like bottlenecks in the workflow,
Right.
or maybe a task that always seems to cause delays.
So it's like it's learning from past projects.
Exactly. It can even predict delays based on historical data.
Wow, so it's like having an early warning system.
It is.
So you can address those issues before they become big problems.
That's the idea.
And the sources also mentioned risk assessment.
Yes.
How can AI help with that?
By looking at data from previous projects, these tools can identify potential risks in the current project.
Okay.
They can see patterns that might indicate trouble.
So you can take steps to mitigate those risks.
Exactly. You can be proactive instead of reactive.
Okay. And it's not just about the logistics and the data.
Right.
These AI tools can also help with communication and collaboration.
Absolutely. They can make it much smoother.
Okay. How so?
Well, there are tons of AI collaboration tools out there,
Really?
and more are being developed all the time.
Wow.
Think about tools that can summarize long emails or documents.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I know, right?
Okay, what else?
Tools that can transcribe meetings in real time.
So you don't have to take notes.
Exactly.
Wow.
And even tools that can help with brainstorming.
How does that work?
They can analyze and categorize ideas as they come up.
Oh, that's so cool. It's like having an AI brainstorming partner.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we've covered roles, strategic planning, and tools. But how do you actually make sure that all of these elements, the humans and the AI, work together seamlessly?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah, and how do you make sure everything is consistent?
Right, because consistency is really important.
Okay.
The sources say that it's about more than just the technology.
Okay.
It's about a fundamental change in how we think about teamwork.
So it's like a mindset shift,
It is.
Yeah.
We need to start seeing AI as a true teammate,
not just a tool.
right? An equal partner.
So it's about building respect
Yes, mutual respect between humans and AI.
and recognizing that each one brings something unique to the table.
Exactly. It's about valuing both human and AI capabilities.
Okay.
And understanding that they both have strengths and limitations.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where they work best together.
Exactly.
And the sources also talk about setting clear boundaries for the AI.
Yes,
Why is that important?
because it helps to prevent confusion.
Okay.
And it makes sure that everyone knows what's expected of them.
Right, so the AI knows its lane
Exactly.
and the humans know theirs.
It's about defining the AI's role clearly.
So it's used effectively.
Right. And it also reinforces the importance of human skills.
Yeah, like creativity and ethics.
Exactly. The things that AI can't fully replicate.
Okay, so it's about finding the right balance,
It is.
letting AI do what it's good at,
Yes.
but also making sure that humans are still in the loop for the important stuff.
Right.
The sources even give an example of how AI can improve communication within a team.
They do.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, they talk about how AI can quickly answer common questions.
Okay, that would be helpful.
It would.
What else?
And it can suggest relevant content during a project.
So it's like having an AI research assistant.
Yeah. Kind of.
That would save so much time
It would.
instead of everyone having to hunt down information. Okay, that leads to this idea of augmented AI,
Right.
where AI and humans are basically working together to create something better than either one could do alone.
Exactly. It's about combining AI's analytical power
Yeah,
with human empathy and judgment.
that's a really powerful combination.
It is.
Now, this idea of consistency in the AI's behavior,
Right.
that's really interesting. Why is that so important?
It's important for a few reasons.
Okay.
First, it helps to maintain brand identity,
Okay.
especially if the AI is interacting with customers.
Right.
If the AI is inconsistent, it can make the brand look bad,
Yeah.
and it can erode trust.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But even more importantly, for the team itself,
Yeah.
consistency builds reliability.
Okay.
If the human team members know that the AI will do what it's supposed to do
Right.
in a predictable way,
Okay.
it makes them trust the AI more.
So it's like any other teammate.
Right.
You need to be able to rely on them.
Exactly.
And how do you actually ensure that consistency?
Well, the sources say it's about setting clear guidelines for the AI,
Okay.
using consistent ways of interacting with it,
Right.
and having humans review the AI's output.
To make sure it's up to par.
Exactly.
So it's about building that same level of trust and reliability that you have with any human teammate.
Yes, it is.
It sounds like seamless collaboration in meta AI teams is a combination of a lot of things.
It is.
You need the right technology,
Yeah.
clear communication,
Right.
and that fundamental trust.
Yes. And consistent AI output helps to build that trust.
It all fits together.
It does.
Okay, so we've talked about all these best practices.
We have.
But why are they so important in the big picture?
Well, what's the point of all this?
Yeah, what's the big takeaway?
Well, the sources emphasize that meta AI teams are a completely new way of working together.
Okay.
It's not just an upgrade to traditional teams.
It's something totally different.
Yeah, it's a brand new form of collaboration.
Where AI is really an active participant.
Yes, it's not just a passive tool. It has a real role to play.
And the success of these teams depends on getting that balance right
Exactly.
between AI's power and human capabilities.
Right. We need to bring those two things together effectively.
So we can achieve things that we couldn't do on our own.
Or even with just AI alone.
Right. It's about the combination.
Yes.
And the sources even touch on some really deep questions.
They do.
Like, what does it mean for an AI to have a self?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Even if it's just a limited kind of self?
Right, like
We-
a self that's defined by its role in programming.
Okay.
And they also talk about the importance of integrity for AI.
What does that mean?
Things like honesty, transparency, consistency.
So the AI needs to be trustworthy.
Exactly.
And that's why all these best practices are so important.
Right.
They're not just random suggestions.
They're about building a strong foundation for these teams.
So they can be effective and reliable.
And ethical.
And the sources actually mention research that shows the benefits of this approach.
Yes.
What did they find?
They found that when you treat AI as a real teammate.
With clear roles and responsibilities,
Exactly.
it can actually boost both productivity and morale. So it's not just a theory.
No, it's backed up by data.
That's pretty convincing.
It is.
Okay, so what happens if teams ignore these best practices?
Well, the sources outlined some potential consequences.
Okay.
First, you could run into integration problems.
Where the AI doesn't work well with the existing systems.
Right, or with the human workflows.
Okay.
That can lead to a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
And waste time.
Yeah, I can see that.
You could also have problems with data quality.
Right.
If the AI isn't trained properly or if the data is bad.
So the AI could be making decisions based on bad information.
Exactly.
Okay, what else?
You could also face resistance from employees.
Yeah, if they feel like the AI is replacing them.
Or if they don't understand how to work with it.
Right.
And ultimately, if you don't follow these best practices, you might not get all the benefits.
The benefits of meta AI collaboration.
Exactly. You could miss out on the innovation and the productivity gains.
So it's not just about keeping up with the technology.
No.
It's about doing it the right way.
Exactly.
So you can actually reap the rewards.
That's the key.
This has been such a fascinating look into meta AI teams.
It really has.
It shows that bringing AI in as a teammate isn't just about plugging it in.
Right.
It's about a whole new way of thinking about teamwork. We need to define roles,
Yeah.
create a strategic plan that uses AI's strengths,
Right.
use the right tools,
Mm-hmm.
and build a collaborative environment based on trust and clear communication. It's a lot to consider,
It is.
but it's clearly worth it.
It is.
The sources make a really strong case for that.
Yes, they do.
And it really makes you think.
It does.
How will our understanding of teamwork need to change as AI becomes more and more common in our workplaces?
That's the big question.
Yeah, it's something we all need to be thinking about.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope you found these insights into meta AI teams valuable
I hope so.
and thought-provoking.
Yes. Keep those wheels turning.
And we'll see you next time.
Until then.
Bye.